I've been drawing for 200 days in a row, and here's what I learned. Hi, my name is Kama. I'm also known as Weird is the Best, and I've been on YouTube for a little over a year, and I've been drawing for quite a while now, 4 years and 4.5 years. And last year I went into an art blog and I was getting a bit frustrated with it, and one day I was like, I'm going to draw every day for as long as I can. I'm not doing New Year's resolutions, I'm just starting today. And I did. And I have been drawing for 201 days as of today, and as of the time you see this video, probably a bit more. I'm not planning to stop. I filled a bunch of sketchbooks, quite a few, and I wanted to share you what I've learned along the journey. I would normally share who the stickers are by on the covers, but I think there's just so much that obviously I won't go through all the sketchbooks, but I'll try and share what I've learned and how to keep a habit like this. So hopefully you'll be inspired. And and I've gone blank. Without further ado, let's dive into it. So, just to give you a very quick overview, my favorite sketchbooks are these Royal Talents art creations. They are very affordable and they are very easy to fill because they're very small. They do have quite a few pages, so they have 80 sheets of paper or 160 sides to fill. But because they're so small, they're really a lot less daunting than your regular sized sketchbooks. So I highly recommend it if you have kind of an art block often and yeah, that kind of thing. Small sketchbooks are really helpful. I feel like I need to zoom out a bit for this. This is unusual. Okay, now that we've zoomed out, I hope this is okay. The light is kind of shining a little bit on this, but this is the best I can do. Yeah, so what was I saying? I was saying that small sketchbooks are super helpful. They're easy to fill, relatively easy to fill, I should say. It might feel a bit daunting nevertheless, but I'll give you a few more tips of things that kind of worked for me. And my voice is a bit funny today. I had to have a couple coffees, but that's a lot for me. So yeah, Royal Talents, art creation sketchbooks. They have nice soft cover, they lay flat. I'll open up a few in a second, just to show you a quick overview. They're inexpensive and most shops have them. Most shops, I say that, but actually they're quite hard for me to find in real shops. I have to go basically to London to get them, if I do, or I have to get them online. But yeah, small sketchbooks, number one. Also, trying out different size sketchbooks, trying out different papers. So like maybe I should go through these. So this one has slightly off-white stock and it's very smooth and it's not the thickest, but it's also quite good for like light use of mixed media. It lays flat as well, which is for me it's quite a positive. So slightly yellow-ish. I say yellow, but it's called natural white. That's quite common. Pure white, and I'll get to that. I'll get to why there are some blobs on. Oops. And yeah, I was talking off camera, I guess. I'll get to why there are some blobs on this page. In fact, on many of these pages. I'll explain that in a minute. But you can get them in all kinds of paper. You can get sketchbooks in all kinds of sort of ideal applications, and like they all are a little bit different. Like this one's Sea White of Brighton, the cartridge paper one, and this one has 95 sheets or 190 pages. It is okay for many things. Like I really enjoyed using it. But for some things like watercolors and marker pens and brush pens, like water-based brush pens, they're not the best because the water sinks into them. So I sometimes kind of give up on them for a few months and then I come back to them and use them again. It's just you know, every sketchbook has its uses, and this one isn't the best for certain things, but it's good for others. Like, you can see how many different things I've done in it. And so this is watercolor, and it actually wasn't that bad, but it wasn't great either. So yeah, there's just like, yeah, you can try things out. And my advice to you, if you don't know, am I off shot again? Sorry about that. My advice for you, if you have trouble filling sketchbooks, is to try different ones. You don't have to spend a lot. These Sea White of Brighton sketchbooks are pretty cheap considering how many pages there are, and they come in different sizes as well. I quite like buying them in square, just because, I don't know why. And then these ones come in even more sizes, like 5 by 7 inches. Then they go up to square and quite big ones, like I think A4, A3 potentially. I'm not sure if there is an A3, but yes, there's quite a lot of these. And I love how this stock holds up. And you can see, like, not all of my pages are great, and I'll get to that in a second. I feel like I have more points than time. But if you have any questions, do let me know in the comments, and I will try and answer them. You can also buy, so these were like, is it perfect bound? Like bound sketchbooks. And these, you can also get them on spiral binding. And a lot of people don't like spiral bound, but the main advantage of spiral bound is that they are a lot cheaper. I guess it's maybe easier to make them because there's less work involved, like manual, actual work by a human. This might be like done by a machine, I guess. I don't know. But you can also buy spiral bound. This particular one by Winsor & Newton has pages that you can tear out, which is quite useful. But what I sometimes like to do, like with this sketchbook, I literally just took it apart and I scanned the pages in, and I can put them back on, but I haven't finished scanning yet. And that means that you don't have to tear pages out or flatten them awkwardly in your scanner. There's so many sketchbooks here. I'm going to make some space. That's better. It's still a bit hard. Yeah, so you can undo the whole sketchbook, and then you can put it back together, and you can scan them much easier this way. It's a bit messy, but I think it's a lot better than, yeah. And this one's Visual Journal by Strathmore, and it's got, some people say it's a really weird paper, and I can't remember what it's made of because it doesn't really say. It's like this weird cellulose stock, I think. If you know, let me know, because, oh, maybe this one says. No, it doesn't. Anyway, this isn't a sketchbook tour. Like, yeah, we're not talking about sketchbooks specifically. Can you feel my excitement? I'm just so happy for reaching 200 days and also to share this with you. So bear with me, we'll get there. But yes, I really like it. Some people don't particularly like it, especially because I think the two sides of the paper are slightly different, and I think I'm going backwards. And it just is great for watercolors, in my opinion. Oh yeah, sometimes I paint upside down on these because it's easier because of the spiral binding, so your hand doesn't catch on the binding, I guess. And yeah, I've done some swatching in it, so you can see how inks handle, and so on and so on. I'm not going to go through all of them because there's just so many. I will mention brands as I go, but let's go to the next point. And the next point would be swatching. If you don't know what to draw, swatch. Swatching is a great method of finding out what you like, finding out how a given medium is looks on a certain type of paper, whether you like to use it, how you apply it, so like whether it is with a brush or a nib or any other way. You can play with a lot of tools. You can even use things like, I don't have it to hand, but you can use like cotton buds, you can use sticks. You don't necessarily have to go like traditional with how you apply your medium. Swatches are great, and I'm just trying to find, so this is sort of a swatch page. I didn't know what to draw, and I just painted these clouds. This is a single paint. It's a super granulating paint by, I believe it's Schminke paint, and I just really enjoyed this. And even though it's not the best page, I remember that it got me through, you know. There was some, other stuff following, but a lot of the beginning of the sketchbook is just swatches, and I try to pick my favorite colors and just like see what I had so that I could pick my mediums better. It's just really nice, and it can be quite relaxing. So yeah, I recommend it. I probably have more swatches in the sketchbook and some others. There you go, a swatch page that doesn't really have that much. I was testing, so I learned that you can use a wax or like a pastel on a page and then paint on top of it, and it will show through. And it's a much better technique than trying to draw on top of the paint, which is here. You can't even tell. Well, I can barely tell. So yeah, swatching is a great thing to do in your sketchbooks or on paper, however you prefer to work. Okay. Drawing sessions. The next point would be drawing sessions, and if you've seen any of my sketchbook tours, you'll see quite a lot of drawing sessions, and I just love them. There's just a few that I can think of at the top of my head. Art Hang Party, which is a session with Melissa Martin on YouTube, and you can just draw them. So this one I joined at midnight to 2 a.m. and we were drawing people in motion and really quick. And the really quick drawings, so that's like 2 points in one. I'll tell you the second tip now, is drawing quick. Drawing quick taught me a lot, and because I have so many sketchbooks right now, I haven't prepared this, but I've drawn a similar session a few months before that in March, and it was way, way less confident. And this was like a month after, maybe it was January, but it was like between 1 and 3 months later, I was a lot more confident. They're not like anatomically correct, but they are certainly, oops, sorry for swears, they are certainly very confident, and I did feel confident, and I really enjoyed it. And putting those faces on sometimes can save a drawing. For me, they're awesome, and I don't care like whether people think it's good or not. I enjoyed it, and that's what sketchbooks are for, basically for you to enjoy and to learn and improve. And those were my most important drawings probably in the last few years. So yeah, there were lots of them. And drawing from life or drawing on a video call, sort of from life. Drawing is Free is a session where you draw people on a video call where, so it's organized by Chloe, and she would put a song on and she would ask a person to pose for the duration of that song, and everyone draws them. And it's great fun. It's very challenging to start with, but the more you draw, the more sessions you join, the better you become. And yeah, it's just, free reference material for you for drawing from life. And it's really helped me grow my skills. Drawing self-portraits. This isn't very like me, but you can take a picture of yourself and draw yourself, which is cool. Drawing upside down is great, especially for things that are very daunting and difficult. So I drew these up. The references were upside down, and I was drawing them upside down. And they actually turned out like people. Potentially better anatomy than I normally do. So yeah, it's just a good tip. And I recently heard about people drawing horses upside down. And I think it's genius because horses and bicycles are notoriously feared by all the artists. Maybe not all, but most artists. And yeah, it's just, yeah, drawing sessions are great. There are also sessions from the Odd Orange. There are Sophie McPike's sessions, Katie Moody's, MonkeyMintaka's. There are just so many that I can't name them all. Do check them out. And if you check out more of my sketchbook tours, you will find references to multiple different sessions. So if you're interested in that, check out a few of my sketchbook tours, because I usually mention these. And I will link a couple in my in the description below. Just take a short break for a drink. Okay, what else is there? I'm definitely not going to go through all my tips because there's just not enough time. Talked about this one. So yeah, some people were asking me, how do I make sure that I actually make the time? And the answer is, I don't have much of a social life. That's true. Sad? Is it sad? I don't know. I'm quite happy with that. So I found a time during the day that works for me. So for me, it's evenings and quite late in the evenings, because that's when I feel the most creative. And that's when I sit down and draw. And sometimes it's really hard to start. But as you could see, sometimes it's all about just starting and, I don't know, making a swatch page, making an ugly page. I'll show you a few. This sketchbook is one of my newest, and it has quite a lot of art that I don't particularly think it's very good, but it's a sketchbook. It's not meant to be beautiful. It's meant to teach you something. So you can see like a variety. This, I don't even know what this is, and it doesn't really matter. I just moved on to the next page after that. Yeah, blah day. Just didn't know how to draw that day. And I tried drawing from life. So this one was a warm-up. Not meant to look like the person. I was just really self-conscious, or like not sure about how to draw people from life. And then I drew this person. Yeah. Switching up mediums, trying different things, trying different color combinations. All of that really helps. This one's a session from Sophie McPike, where we drew mythical creatures. And I really liked her idea of using rainbow pencils or magic pencils. I just used a very generic one, super cheap ones. And highlighters. And I think the highlighters, I just love looking at these pages because they just really lift it up and they make everything look really happy. Also, look at this guy. What was I saying? I've completely lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, just starting something. Also, I find switching between my sketchbooks. So one day I'll feel like drawing in this one. Another day I'll feel like drawing in this super beautiful Odd Orange sketchbook that's, you know, hand-bound by Morgan, and it's got a really nice, like, and sometimes I make pages that are kind of a nothing page, where I just try and get over the fear of the blank page. But other times, like here, I drew this, I painted this, testing my new materials, and I made it into a sticker for my Patreon. If you're interested in Patreon, I'll link that up in the description below. I won't be talking too much about it. Yeah, just switch up your sketchbooks and do whatever pleases you. If that's, you know, if that works for you. If you prefer working in a single sketchbook and like going from start to finish and then moving on to another one, then do that, because, you know, do whatever works, and that will likely make you happier about making art and showing up every day. I really love this sketchbook. It's really fun. It's been recommended by Sophie McPike on her YouTube, and I really love the crinkliness of the pages and how nicely it handles a lot of mediums. I don't like how it handles some of the inks, but it handles quite a lot pretty well. Another swatch page. it's just fun. So yeah, pick a sketchbook that you enjoy. Doodle pages are quite fun to do, and they can get you out of, you know, the fear of blank page. One other thing that I like doing on the first page is make it ugly. Like, I literally make it intentionally ugly usually. Sometimes I try and draw something, but most of the time I just make it like this. And I'll try and show you a couple more. Maybe this one, but I'll just need to make sure I cover my address and my email address and stuff. This one actually came out alright, and it's more of a kind of a finished page. But, oops, quite often I start them in not beautiful. Like, this one doesn't have much on it. And it's got like scribbles and things, and, you know, not great, but who cares? Like, there's another page after that, and another and another. And you can just keep going. And oftentimes I will make my last page nice. Like, this one isn't the most beautiful, but it's a bit nicer than my first page. More swatches, so yeah. Filling up pages, sometimes it can feel like it's hard, but come on. Is this very hard? I don't think so. It can be hard to start, but once you start, you can pick something easy to begin with, and then once you start, you might feel really inspired to do something better, or like, not better, better in inverted quotes, like more finished, more refined. I just love experimenting in sketchbooks, and I love seeing other people's imperfect sketchbooks. I just think it's more realistic. Okay. Something that really helped me recently, I'll just list those things up because I feel like this video is becoming a bit long. Or maybe I should record a second one, but I'll forget what I've already talked about. I rarely plan my videos because that stresses me out, and it makes me feel a bit like, you know, like when you speak to a script, to me that's very unnatural. Like, I just can't get over that, so I just go with the flow. Let's keep going. So I love using reference sites, and I know Pinterest is I'm sorry for the shake. Pinterest is very popular. I've stopped using Pinterest as much. I sometimes use it if I can't find a reference or if I really want something different, but I like using websites that are specifically royalty-free, like Pexels, who I love, and like Unsplash, which I think is mostly royalty-free, which means that the photographer or the person making the photo has given them permissions has given anyone permission to use it. You can accredit them, but you don't have to, and you don't have to pay them. They freely let you use it. Whereas on Pinterest, you never know whether you can use it. And it started feeling a bit strange for me to use someone else's work because someone took time to make it and someone then pinned it, and you don't know if they are happy for you to use it. So yeah, anyway, I sometimes use Pinterest still. Going plein air or going to art classes or groups that draw together is a great way of getting over the art block, because you are surrounded by people who do the same thing. You are also given a task, and sometimes that kind of makes you feel like, okay, now it's time to draw. Sometimes all it takes is that. And I've started co-working with a few people recently. And what I found that before the session, I kind of want to do something, but it's really hard to start. As soon as we get on the call and we say hello and then we start working, I immediately switch gear and I just draw for an hour or two. And no one even... Sometimes we have like quiet co-working sessions where you don't talk much. And I've been the most productive at those. It's just a commitment. It just changes the setting. You no longer have the phone to scroll through because you're on a video call with someone, so you can't really use your phone while you're talking to someone. Or like, yeah, I forgot the word. It's like not commitment, not Anyway, fill in the word because you probably know what I mean better than I do. What else? I also found Patreon quite interesting. One, you can follow other artists and see what they're doing and like pay them a few quid and attend their classes and drawing sessions. But two, my own Patreon where I share what I do. I found that very inspiring, especially at the beginning when I didn't have a large amount of work behind me. I started drawing every day in January 2020, and I can't remember how long I went for, but just a bit over 500 days for sure. And I drew a diary comic every month. And because of that, I had a commitment. So I had to show up and do it. And I found that sort of commitment quite useful. I'm just looking at my notes here. I put down do scary stuff as one of the things. So like if something feels like, oh, I can't draw this, I will never be able to draw this. Just, I feel like if you try, you might surprise yourself. But if it's not as good as you would hope or want, it doesn't mean that you will never do it, right? A lot of people have gone through this as well. So like to start with, I could not draw dogs. And for the longest time, I couldn't draw dogs until maybe last year when I joined a Not Orange session. And I drew dogs and they turned out in a way that I was happy with for the first time. And some things you just need to draw over and over and over again until you something clicks. But what I would say, if you are struggling with something, you can make your life a little bit easier by trying a class somewhere. You can, whether it's Domestika, Skillshare. I'm not sponsored by any one of them. I'm just listing out a few examples. You can find out an artist who shares them on maybe Instagram and see if they maybe have some lessons or workshops online that you can attend, or maybe some in-person ones. Maybe in your city there are some where you can learn 3D shapes. So like drawing cylinders, cubes. I forget the shape names in English right now. It's not my first language, so I learned all these shapes at school in my mother tongue, Polish. So I kind of forget. Cubes, yeah, I've already said that. Basically, I know just two, like pyramids and all the variations of that, because those are the building blocks of most things. And if you can draw these shapes quite well in different perspectives, you'll be halfway there to drawing everything you want with a bit of practice. I didn't do it at the beginning. I did it a bit later on, and it really sped up my learning. So I highly recommend that you do a few basic classes, some here and there. If you want to be serious, go for it. But yeah, just a few might just be fun and helpful. And it doesn't have to cost a lot. You don't have to go to an art school to do it. So yeah. My advice to you would be to commit to drawing at least, I would say you can give yourself a minimum of 5 minutes a day, or maybe 15 minutes a day. But once you go through the 15 or 5 or 15 minutes, don't stop. Well, if you feel like continuing, don't stop and keep going. But having the minimum of 5, even if it's, I did a project where I was doing, I can't remember, something like 500 days of lettering a good few years ago now. Sorry, I was checking if I'm still recording and in shot. And what was really useful was if I had a day where I couldn't be bothered to draw, I would still draw a word and you like scribble it, like in my handwriting. And you'd be surprised how often that led to me drawing for an hour or two. Sometimes that was all I did, and that was okay because I did put my pen to paper and I tried. I think showing up is the most important part of this whole thing. So if you take anything from this, is to show up and remove the blank page from the equation. Sometimes it's as simple as that, and sometimes that's all you need. And in fact, I was showing you earlier sketchbook that I have in my hand. So like these pages, I just scribbled some highlighter pens, and I don't know what it is about that. It makes drawing more fun, and you're not worried about messing up because the page is already kind of messed up. It's already not blank anymore. It's you know, yeah, I don't know. You can see how I wasn't confident at the beginning of this sketchbook at all. Here I was getting a bit better, but I was still quite stiff. And then this session just changed everything about how I draw. And you might think that super quick scribbles, it's not great art, but it can be great for learning. It can really improve your figure drawing because it's more gestural, because you're capturing the movement and you're capturing the essence. And I really want to learn how to draw in a way that you kind of don't draw every single thing that you see. You simplify, and sometimes you even leave a blank space. Like, this isn't finished, that sort of thing, maybe-ish. So yeah. What else do we have? If you're... Because I know excuses. Like, I've been through quite a lot of sketchbooks, quite a lot of drawing experiences, painting and everything. And I know how easy it is to have an excuse. If you don't have fancy paints, if you don't have fancy crayons, if you don't have fancy other, stuff to draw with, I can guarantee you have a pen, a ballpoint pen, and you can start drawing with that. Or you have a pencil. I'm sure you have a pencil at home of some kind. Just use that. Sometimes the cheapest medium is the best. And if you don't have a sketchbook, make one. Like, literally folds. The way I drew one of my comic books, I sometimes draw comic books, was I was getting a bit nervous about drawing in a sketchbook or anything like that. So what I did is I took my printer paper that I wasn't even using for printing. It was that bad. I didn't like that paper at all. It was very thin, flimsy, and I didn't like it. And I took my cheap pencil, colored pencil, and I just started doodling on it. And that's how ideas, because I was really loose with it and I didn't care about being perfect, that's how my drawings came out. I don't know, I wish I prepared that one to show you. But I was just doodling, and over a few pages I started drawing ideas for the comic, and I ended up with a comic book. Like, how cool is that? It wasn't even planned. I don't know if... where are you? Oh, never mind. But yeah, you get the point, right? And going with the use what you already have, it sometimes can be really fun to try a new art supply, like, I don't know, a fluorescent pen, or something new. I really like experimenting with these gouache paints. It's a bit more daunting because it's messy, and once they dry you can't reactivate them. But there are so many different art supplies that you can try out there, and if you haven't yet, I'm really excited for you because you will have lots of fun once you start. I dropped my sketchbook earlier. Another thing you can do is decorate your sketchbook with stickers. If you don't have stickers, maybe you have washi tape, maybe you have some packaging. I have a sketchbook dedicated just to packaging. In fact, I have it here. Pretty sure it's this one. It's just envelopes cut up and like Christmas paper and packaging that I find inspiring. You know, that could be a part of your sketchbook. But stickers. Yeah, so just go for it. Oh, and I know I was saying commit to drawing at least 5 minutes every day. I know that not everyone will have that amount of time. You might have a family, you might have a job rather, you might have other commitments, but you can commit to, say, 5 days a week, 3 days a week, however much time you have to spare and you want to commit, you can commit that. Or maybe you can get your kids to draw with you, or, you know, something like that. One thing I did, I love doing, is challenges on social media. You can find a challenge called, if you just search in their hashtag search, or even on Google, it will probably come up. Draw this in your style, which is usually organized by an artist who draws a piece and then says, draw this in your style. And they've released that picture on social media, and anyone can draw that character or scene or something in their style. You can draw in Inktober, Peachtober. Like in October, there's plenty of opportunities. In May, there's I forgot the name of the challenge, but basically you draw mermaids. Mermaid, maybe? Every month. In January, there's Burp Fest. And yeah, like every month has something. And if you can't find them, just keep looking, keep following people and see what they do, and you will eventually start finding them. But also, I'll give you a few in the comments, in the description below. You can do the 100-day project, and the beauty of the 100-day project is that you don't have to start it when everyone else is starting it. You can start it in your own time. Like, I never started on the actual start day, I don't think. Maybe once. I did once. But this one, I did my version of this challenge, where I drew, instead of 100 days in a row, I drew 100 pages in a row. So sometimes I drew 0, sometimes I drew 2 pages, 3 pages. And what I did is I divided everything into squares or rectangles, and I used washi tape to separate them. And I drew 100 of these over a period of time. Just because it felt like I would be making a page a day, roughly, and it won't be just one piece, it will be 4 pieces that are quite small. And occasionally I would do like a couple squares instead of a whole page. It just gave me a lot of flexibility, and it meant that there were, there were no wasted pages, because it's such a low stakes. Like, these were experiments, and it didn't matter because, on the next page I would try something else. I painted the same thing 4 times just to see if I can get better. Here I used leftover paint on one day, and then I finished it off on the second day. Colored pencils, paints, wonky cuts. Actually, I didn't need that. Yeah, just trying a new pencil lead kind of thing in a mechanical pencil. I don't even know what this was supposed to be. Like, yeah, just doing something is better than waiting for the inspiration to come. For me, the best way to inspire myself is to put on something like an audiobook, a podcast, or what's it called? Some music, and just start. It really helps me relax and get in the zone. Like, I don't even know what this was. I was just playing. Here I drew some cuts, and this eventually became my washi tape, which you sometimes can see in my videos. But here's the washi tape that was inspired by one of the squares, and then the second one. And then I started drawing cuts, and they turned into something, Draw your favorite characters. If you're new to art, it's good to not sell your art that you made out of other people's artistic work. But if you use it for studies, I don't see much wrong with that, because you're just learning, and you're not pretending it's your own. Does that make sense? So yeah, this one I drew in the park. It started off being quite nice, but then I overdid it. I did some Japanese calligraphy. Well, it's not really professional calligraphy, but I tried. Swatches from Natasha Newton's video on YouTube. She does these like really lovely swatches. It's just a different way of swatching, more interesting. Anyway, this is getting very, very long. Don't be afraid of ugly. Who cares? Like, sometimes all you have to do, all your brain needs is a bit of moving, doing something with your hands, you know? I was just mixing up some paints, and I don't like throwing paint away, like washing it away, so I just used it up. In the hopes that I might paint over it someday or draw over it, but I didn't. And it's fine. Here I had a lot of fun with these. It's just loads and loads of doodles. And here's the last page, which was kind of fun. Like, I really like this. And I never made it into a sticker. I meant to. Anyway, enough talking, I think. Just referring to my notes. I kind of already mentioned it, but like timed drawings, like you don't have to do it on a session with someone. Setting yourself a timer, whether it's 30 seconds, 2 minutes. 2 minutes are quite good and 3 minutes are quite good. If you're starting out, maybe 5 minutes would be better. And draw a single thing in that time. Single line drawing, blind drawing, so not looking at what you're drawing. And even better, not looking and drawing single line, so without lifting your pen or pencil, are quite good exercises, especially for warming up. And you can put that into your sketchbook, so it fills up a few pages. But it's not a big problem if it's like a cheap sketchbook. And you kind of have to get through the initial movements for your hand to warm up and to be able to draw a bit better. You can try drawing with a non-dominant hand, or you can look up exercises like, what's it called? Negative space. There's just so much. Draw something that surrounds you. Like, I'm sure you might not think that, but if you look around you right now, there might be something that you can draw. Try drawing that. And for me, usually that means that I get a bit frustrated and I don't like what I draw, but it might work for you. So I think I'm going to stop here because I've been rambling on for quite a long time. Hopefully you found it useful and interesting. And yeah, this is just how much I filled. Some of them I finished in the 100 days, but if you look at the amount of work, maybe I should do it this way, that I've done. It's not all in the 100 days, because some of my sketchbooks were started much earlier, and some of them are not finished yet. One sec. But think of what you can... This one day, this pile, you will have a similar one if you start today. Just make a commitment to start today. Don't wait for the perfect sketchbook, for the perfect pencil, perfect inspiration. I think start today. And next year you will have filled 1 sketchbook, maybe 2 sketchbooks, or maybe you will have accumulated this many. And with that, I would like to wish you all the best and all the artsing that you can possibly imagine and wish for. And I wish you all the inspiration and no art blocks. But obviously, art blocks hit every single one of us. Maybe if you're really lucky, they won't. And yeah, have a lovely day artsing. And until next time, until next video. And yeah, just wanted to say I'm extremely happy to have reached 200 days of drawing every day again. And it feels great. And one day I'll have an art block, but for now I'm happy and drawing and, you know, enjoying it and sharing it with the world. yeah, have a lovely day, artsing, and until next time, bye! Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't. Ta-da! I don't fit in the shot. There's so many.